All right. Good morning. Hope you are all doing great. Hope you are all doing fine. Hope you are all enjoying. It's a Sunday today. It's another day for another morning rant where we put across stuff which will uplift people, which will heal people's hearts, heal people's bodies, heal people's minds, and elevate them to the level where they can be able to connect with their inner child, their Aquarius. Aquarius, healing, wisdom, wise counsel with an Aquarius undertone. So it's water. In the morning, I was chilling. I was like, you know what? I want some water. I want something to cool me down. But man, I'm not a shower person, man. Like a cold shower person. I can't bath cold shower, man. So I'm like, I can't wake up. I'm like, can I go to a shower, man? Man, shower is too much. And for some reason, man, you know what? For me, I can't say I manifested anything. It just happened on its own because I didn't even manifest anything. There was a shower outside. Light shower. And the sun is like up. It's around 7. Around almost to 8. And I'm like, immediately I stood up. My short, tight, t-shirt, body top. My head straight. Into the showers outside, the rain showers. Man, it was so good. I was like in my Aquarius mode for real. I was spinning in the grass. I was, like what we used to do when we were kids. Aquarius is the kids, right? It's the child, the inner child. That's Aquarius. That's the water bearer. Like you used to say, go and fetch water. You send your child to go and fetch water. That's where the thing comes from. Aquarius, the water bearer, the one who brings in water to you like that. It's the child. You understand? So it's the child Aquarius. So I was spinning, I was doing all that, and jumping, military exercises, frog jumping, the Chinese, Japanese, whatever, all those. I was combining everything that I know. From Kung Fu, martial arts, judo, what, all the things. Like, my father was police, mother, army, so combination of everything. You understand? So I was going through all that stuff. But anyway, it was nice. I feel good. Man. I feel good. That's the power of nature. But anyway, I digress. Let me come back to our teaching for today. Our talk of today, like I said, it's healing. Healing comes in many forms, like we said before. And in this case, it's healing with wisdom, as a wise counsel, with an Aquarius undertone, meaning it has got kids inside now. Right? Because when it has got kids inside, we want to look at how the systems and whatever which is happening is affecting the kids and how they can be rescued from all this. Remember what we said before. When there were all those things that happened in a system and other people came in from outside, came in to disrupt the system and did whatever, caused a forward movement also, whilst also deterring in certain areas. What actually happened is the kids were the ones who were manipulated, you understand, to adopt systems which they don't necessarily have an understanding of, but just because their parents have been subdued. So like in this case, we are now looking at those kids. When I say kids, I don't say kids as in like kids, like growing up kids. We are all kids. Even a grandfather who is 100 years is also a kid because he's a child of the system. That is where I'm coming from. So I'll take it from that perspective, not necessarily from the perspective of the kid as in child and whatever. Yes, it can mean that, but also on the others. Like I said, understanding, understanding, overstanding. You must understand it from all those perspectives. So now, let's look at it from this perspective. When the people who came in to create this system, okay, I want to put a declaration before we go. Myself, I am a teacher. I'm a wise counsel. I'm an informer. I'm an information delivery system. Like in war, you know those reporters which you see in war, they'll be wearing blue or whatever, written media. People don't go and start shooting the media, right? Because the media is just there to put information out. They don't choose sides to say, no, I'm going to side with this one or side with this one. They just put information out, and it's up to the people who are receiving the information to make their own mind. But we put information as it is, the way you would have delivered it. If the person who is giving you the information has the information distorted, what is going to happen? You're also going to deliver distorted information. It's up to the person who is receiving the information to decipher and make up their own conclusion. Because some information is delivered in cryptic puzzles for you to decode on your own. If it's meant for you, you are able to decode. If it's not meant for you, you will not understand it. You will just say, you know what, this guy is crazy, and you move on. Which is also fine, because it's not for you. Who it is for, they will understand how to do and what to deal with the information. So, please don't shoot the messenger. I'm just delivering. So, now, when the people who established, after they subdued, like in the story, it's a story that we are talking of, right? So we are continuing with the story. It's not like it's real, that actually happened or something like that. We're just talking of a story. So please don't say I'm saying do this or whatever. It's a story. So they came in, subdued whoever was there. The parents were subdued and they were utilized, and the kids were manipulated into observing whatever which those people who came in with. So those people who came in, I'm just going to say people because it's a story. It can be anything. There were 7 major leaders who were there. Of course, following instruction of a lot of other ones. And then on top of them, other things there, which were also sending them. Those 7, what they did, they had their areas in which they want. Let's say, for example, we come in here. Me, I'm an engineer, so I'm going to specialize in engineering. Someone else is an economist, is going to specialize in economics. Someone else is a scientist, is going to specialize in maybe crop science, animal science, whatever science. So we group ourselves in those, and then we divide the territory amongst all that. And then we start saying, if you create a system, let's say I create a system which is a religious system. All of us, the 7 of us, will divide ourselves into that religion. To say, okay, me, I'm a military person. So if I'm a military person, you have established a religious system. I want one sect which is going to be like military kind of. Then you create maybe a Salvation army kind of, a normal kind of. It belongs to me, the military guy. And then we say, you know what, look, me, I'm a motherly kind of. I want something which has got a motherly kind of dressing and all that, and something which is grounded. Then you establish a system also inside, which is that kind of. You understand? And then someone says, you know what, look, me, I like to dance, I want to, all that. So establish inside that religious system another church or whatever, which has to do with dancing and all that. You understand? So until all the 7 of us are divided equally amongst all that. And we still operate in all of them, the 7 of us. Same applies to politics, same applies to traditional, same applies to whatever. All those 7 will be inside in there. So, for example, when you say, I'm going to consult my ancestors in a traditional, actually you are not consulting any of your ancestors. You are consulting those 7 areas of specialization. So what they do, they just come in, look at your actual lineage, where you came from, look at the familiar spirits which were in there, and then they'll just do whatever inside that. Because the actual ancestors, remember, like I told you, they were subdued. The actual ancestors, they were subdued. Same applies to the actual angelic beings. They're also subdued, which means whatever you will see in the system is not necessarily angelic, whatever. But I'll go into it so that I explain exactly, because someone will be like, but how come I feel good when I do this, and I really feel connected to God and all that? How come? So I'm going to explain that so that you get to understand how they do it in such a way that you feel it that way. Me, I'm just delivering. It's up to you what you do with the information. If you feel that, you know what, me, I'm connecting to angelic beings, like, that's fine. If I feel that I will connect to ancestors, whatever, that's also good. It's good for you. You understand? You have a choice to do what you want. It's up to you. So, I was at a situation where I was explaining. So what happens? Those 7 areas of specialization and more, there's not just 7. They've got different signs in which they show themselves. Mainly they move with air, some will move with water, some they move with earth, some they move with ether, some they move with... So depending on the type. Some you burp, that's air. Some will pass air down there, that's air. Some will be swelling inside the stomach, making noise, sounds, like as if, you know, when you are hungry, what happens inside your stomach is them who is doing that, and all like that. Some you have to sneeze, meaning it's tsu, meaning as in tsu, like tsu, T-S-U. You know, the Egyptian, when they say tsu, what it means, those kind of things. So those are different type of the elements which we are talking of. Some, they want worship, like as in, you know what, you must worship me. You must say to me that, you know what, you're good, looking good, we are lovely, we love you, there's nothing we can do without you, you know what, you're our only thing. That's their area. You cannot say, why do they just want that, to be worshipped. So, now I've spoken about these 7. Now let's talk of, where did these 7 come from? So what actually happened? This story is narrated in different texts or in different systems through different ways. Some will look in the Bible where they talk of Adam and Eve, Adam sleeping, and then God taking the rib out of Adam, creating Eve. Some will talk of Sophia coming with the light from above, creating Yaldabaoth, and then Yaldabaoth creating the 7 archons, and all that and all that. It's the same story. The story which they are trying to just put across to make it simple for people to understand. Look at it from this perspective. You as a man, you have got a seed inside you. A seed which can be used to produce. So let's call that light, for example, for the lack of a better word. Then we talk of the Sophia story. Let's talk that as the rib. Then we talk of the Adam story. So what happens, let's say for example you are sleeping yourself. A spiritual energy can come into your dream state and take your seed from you. When it takes a seed from you, it goes out there. Then it uses that seed to create either kids or clones of you. Those clones of you, they've got certain keys that they have inside your body. Remember we spoke about yesterday one of the keys, the abundance and prosperity key. There are a lot of other keys which open a lot of other doors. which are inside yourself. So if you take someone's seed and you go out with it, you will be able to create a replica of that particular person, which you can use to open certain doors that you want to open. Now, why would you do that? Now look at it this way. Let's talk of a story to say, let's use Sophia's story. Sophia, let's say, was wisdom, the embodiment of wisdom, love, beauty, and all that. And was with God, or the creative force out there. Then comes down into a certain system. In that particular system, there are other spiritual energies which are there. Those other spiritual energies which are there, they convince Sophia to say, you know what, look, we can create more stuff. But you know what we need? We need the seed which is coming in from the creative force. We need that light for us to be able to create. Then Sophia goes, is convinced, right? Or whoever is convinced, comes in with the light. And then with that light, they create Yaudaboth. This is what we, in this system, we call God. Yaudaboth, who is like a lion, dragon, whatever kind of thing. You understand? To the above, that was an imperfection. It was done without the love that is there in the balanced state of masculine and feminine together. So it's like an imperfection, which is what usually happens in many cases. You always create an imperfection if you do something not in love, not in wisdom, not in abundance, prosperity, peace, protection, happiness, divine. You don't have that. So something which is used, where you use chaos, like in this case, you go and take the seed and use it for yourself to create without the awareness of whoever is the use seed you are actually using. It means it's chaos that you are creating. So upon creating that, remember, is the seed which has been used to create this, which is the light which is coming in. So what it means is the light of that creative force is also going to be cascaded down. And then from Yaudaboth started creating, replicating whatever which is in the creative energy above, or in the creative, okay, let's say heavens above. So you'll be like, okay, so if I look, if I just get a glimpse, I see that a system for it to be like this, it has to be like that. Then he creates things which are like almost a replica of whatever which is above. So that's why it is confusing to say, someone says a sign, then like, that guy is Illuminati, or that guy is whatever. It's because whatever symbolism that you see, most of it originated from above. And then it was utilized now in an inverted state. In some instances, they invert it, change the certain components of the sign. In some instances, they use it exactly as it is, but with a certain undertone to feed those who want to be worshipped. The reason why they want to be worshipped is one. Look at it this way, as a father, from a fatherly perspective or a parent perspective. You are a father. You give birth to kids. And then you have got problems with the mother. You divorce or you separate away from each other. As a father, if your child is sent to you to say, go and ask your father for some money, what would you do? Would you say, I divorced your mother, I'm not going to give you? You can't. You end up giving them. Right? If your child is sent to you to say, you know what, take this, go and put at your father's place, your child will still come. Yourself, you will actually see that your child has been sent with something that they are coming in with. You understand? But it's your child. So what you do is you try to find ways in which you can neutralize whatever which has been sent with the child, but you cannot chase your child away. So now, instead of the child coming to you directly, now what they do, they find a maid, and then they say, you maid. Every child who wants to talk to their father, they have to talk to you. They tell you exactly what they want from their father. And then you take everything that has been said by the father, the children, to the father. The reason why the father cannot come directly to the children is because the children have been manipulated to refuse or not want to accept the father directly. So the father cannot force himself to the children, because the children will still reject the father. So the father has to stand there and rely on people who are coming in with the information, hoping that one day the children will grow up to a level where they can understand themselves, the whole story, and see the whole picture as a whole, and they will themselves be able to communicate directly and get all the stuff that they want without having to what? So sometimes the father just provides those resources or those whatever, and then those people who are receiving, the maids and whatever, they now do not necessarily distribute to the children. They use it for themselves and others, and also give to the children they prefer, not necessarily the ones who really are asking for it. So the father now, what the father does is to say, okay, you know what? If my kids, they want this item, what I'm going to do, I'm going to send one of my angels to come down. But when they come down, they can do it in two ways. They can do it as an influence to those maids. So the maid can actually be possessed, not possessed is a bad word. They can actually be under the influence of an angelic being, but it's a maid. Then they say certain things, and then you're like, but the maid seems, this maid or this person seems bad, but how come whatever they're saying, man, it's like, it makes sense. Yes, it's because the father has sent an angelic being to get into those archons and do things. So let's say, for example, every day I wake up, I go to do sun gazing. And then an archon doesn't want me to do sun gazing. Then they like, you know what? How can we stop this guy from doing sun gazing? Right? They don't know what I'm thinking in my mind, in my heart. And then they say, let's cause rain. Actually, I wanted rain. So the angelic being went into an archon, made the archon think that, you know what, let's make rain so that this guy can, which is exactly what I wanted. That's how the influence of angelic beings work in the systems. So they do it exactly like that. So what will be happening, let's say, for example, somebody comes in and says, what they will be doing, speaking with the Holy Spirit in those systems, they will just be channeling one of those, in one of those 7 areas. They'll be just, and then they'll be changing. So you will see that one will talk, and then they will sing a verse or sing something. Another one comes in, talk, sing a verse. Another one comes in, talk, because they are blended. Like I told you, remember, blended soul. It's a blended thing. They mix. They will just be changing inside there. You understand? And then an angelic being will also come, possessing one of the archons, and say angelic words, and then sing a verse which uplifts people. The reason why they allow that to happen, those people, is because number one, they do not have an understanding to see the angelic being. Because the angelic being will just be doing things, and it will be influencing them without them knowing. But they can sense that there's something here. But the reason why they leave that to happen is because themselves, they do not have the divine spark. So the only way they can feed is through you. Because you have got the divine seed inside you, yourself, the divine light. So if you communicate, if you raise your vibration, if you sing, if you do all those, you raise your vibration, your energy level is high. Then they can eat that energy. And then that's why when you do your singing and all that, you'll be happy, you have all that. And then after some while, you just feel like, man, I was doing singing and all that, but now what I feel drained, I feel bored, it's not you being bored. It's them sitting inside you and harvesting. When they harvest like that, yourself, you just feel that, you know what, you're bored, you're angry, you're sad, you're miserable, you are anxious, you have anxiety, all that kind of things. You are chaotic, you are jealous, you are envious, all those. You are hating somebody for no apparent reason. Because whatever you're feeling that you feel, the question that you need to ask yourself, why am I feeling like this? Is this really my feeling? Because how can I be angry after I was singing? If you question yourself like that, then that's how you can easily reveal those 7 that I was talking to you about. I feel like I want to be worshipped. I want people to come to me. Because the one who wants to worship creates hierarchy in order for people to worship. You cannot do this unless if you do this. You cannot do this unless you cannot do this if this one is not available. Anotomirirwa uyu. And it's anotomirirwa. That is the reason why you saw that in the olden days there is this statement where people were lashing out against Jacob, saying Chisimabhi chekumarara. You understand? That's where it comes from. Chisimabhi chekumarara. Because some of the energy is like flies, insects, all that kind of things. You understand? That is how that energy is like. So when it comes in to override a certain system or to do whatever. And then in some instances, it's mixed again with those kind of energies. That is why they were now referring Jacob as Chisimabhi chekumarara, because they could identify also that kind of energy within the field spectrum which was happening. You understand? And then everything that happens, like I said, there's always one rule: disclosure. You are supposed to disclose. How you disclose it is entirely up to you. If you can read between the signs, then you can get the decode. If not, you still will be like. So they will tell you. So for example, a spiritual energy like those will come in and say, I'm so and so. Will come again and say, I'm so and so. Will come again and say, I'm so and so. Will come again. You can come in 12 times, pretending to be 12 beings. You understand? And an angelic being will also come to guide you so that you don't get lost totally until you get to a level where you can be able to make a decision. Remember, quarantine, angelic being also comes in to assist you so that you don't get totally lost. That is why there's always some form of feeling where you feel like we have got guidance. But the full light, you don't have it. You understand? Because you're like, man, why is it that we are not able to get through all this? The full light, you don't have it, but you still have some sort of guidance that can guide you so that you don't get totally lost. It's too deep now. It's too deep. Like I said, Aquarius is going down. Like as in, well, when I say going down, I'm not saying it's falling. Aquarius is happening now. You understand? So Aquarius, when Aquarius is happening, when the water is flowing, the water has got its own energy, which it uses to flow. And then you cannot stop water. You can try to do whatever you can try to do, but water, you cannot stop it from flowing. It will just flow. And if you stand in its way, water will just take you away with. So where we stand now, we stand at a situation where the system has done whatever it has done, and the children have grown to a level where they can start questioning. And obviously the quarantine is about to be lifted, but before it is lifted, people have to make a decision. whether they're rooted in love or they're rooted in hatred. So between the two, people have to make a choice, and the choice has to be done now. But in order for people to be assisted to make a choice, what is going to happen is, first thing that will happen is there is going to be removal of parasitic energies and attachments that are affecting the system. So parasitic energies, which are the foreign entities which would have come in to the system, which are affecting or manipulating the system. So when a foreign entity or a parasite or a attachment is removed from the system, because the person usually is used to be operating in that energy of having that attachment, they'll be disoriented and then they'll just act out of character. So what you will start seeing, what you have already started seeing, is that people have started acting out of character. Someone will be like, huh? How can this person act like this? It's because that attachment that they had originally has been removed. And since it has been removed like that, now they act out of character. They don't know how it will behave. Some people will be arrested. Some people will show behaviors which will result them in doing criminal activities. And then they will be put behind bars to be restrained. That is the second stage, which is now people being restrained. Meaning, what is going to happen first is, like I said, the removal, cutting off of the parasitic energy and all that. The second part will be the surgical removal of the actual element. Let's say, for example, you have got a boil. In that boil, first you remove the kamunzi wakari mukati, meaning the parasitic energy. First you remove that thorn. So you've been bitten by something, you remove the thorn first. So you remove that thorn. That's the first stage, which I've spoken about. The second stage is now removal of that boil. So that surgical removal. So you remove the surgical removal of that boil. After the surgical removal of the boil, now you put in an antiseptic ointment, meaning now you are putting in healing mechanism, which is what we spoke about. Remember the healing that we spoke about, where the wife, the mother, the whatever is doing the healing, meaning is healing the father, the healing the child. So the mother is the one who does the healing and doing, remember the singing that we are talking about and opening up the heart and all that. And then after the healing is done, what is supposed to happen now is the father is supposed to come in to patch, right? To patch, to say we have put in this, now we are patching in. After the patching is done, then now the child can now be active. The child can now sing. Tagadzirira. Tsvimbo yetsananguro. Mbiya yerinunuro. Nguo yeruchengetedzo. Tagadzirira. Meaning we are ready to now receive Amrit, which is coming in. Amrit is the healing, is our resources, the energy that we want, the spirit, whatever you can call it, Holy Spirit, whatever, all that. The actual ancestors, that if you are an ancestral person, the actual ancestors who have been suppressed will now come in to show the direction. The actual angelic beings were able to express themselves to show you the direction of where to go. The actual political leaders will show you exactly how you are supposed to do in terms of you now developing a very sound political system, very sound religious system, very sound traditional system, which will enable people to survive the way they're supposed to survive in love, wisdom, peace, abundance, prosperity, happiness. And remember what happens. Like I said before, it's not too late for those who are following that particular system which is in place. You can still be integrated into the new system. What you only need to do, remember, like I always said, even if you listen to tutorial songs and whatever, it means you have to come out in the open and say, look me, I'm this, but look, I'm willing to, you know what, and make this and make that changes. And then the creator of everything is always understanding, understands we all make mistakes, but we all get to be forgiven. But of course, because you have made certain mistakes, you won't be in a position where you were supposed to be originally. You would also be assigned something else that you can be doing. but not necessarily in the same capacity that you were supposed to have been doing. You understand? And you still can go on. But what is needed is kureura, is sincere, being sincere to say, you know what, look, I've been doing this, but I'm willing to do this. And then from there, reconciliation can happen. And then once the reconciliation can happen, all the forces, those who were taken advantage of and all their stuff taken away from them, they can be given their resources. And then now reconciliation happening, you can now have a balance between the energies of those who came in, whatever they taught you, whatever they taught the system, whatever advancement which happened, and the energy of those who were originally the owners of the system. Combining all of them, then you can craft something which can take you forward. That is where I will put it from the perspective of a teacher who is just, who is looking at it from a balanced perspective. Because throwing away whoever was in the system, was controlling the system, does not necessarily help, because what is going to happen is you have to now start figuring out, like remember what happened in one of the countries when they chased away the people who were there, who had come in. Those people who had come in, what they did, they took sugar, melted, put it in gin, put it in machinery, put in whatever, store everything, which means you have to start afresh, looking for exactly all the things that, otherwise you can say, no, look, let's come to a point where we can get to an understanding, but in a sovereign state where we are in charge, the way we were before. And then we do that. Reconciliation doesn't necessarily mean that you do reconciliation with the person who was suppressing, still being in charge. Then you have not reconciled anything. You have not solved anything. You have just changed the face of the person who is in charge, but still remaining that person in the background, which is not what we want. We want a situation where people can really be happy, people can really be in love, people can be in wisdom, abundance, prosperity, peace, protection, happiness for everyone who is in the system. That is where I would put it in the Aquarius stone. Sorry, Aquarius stone, the energy is a bit fast and whatever. It's different from the wise counsel teacher thing. It's a bit fast, so bear with me. But anyway, like I said, it's a blended thing. So when we talk, it's a blended thing. You can see, I think for you have seen already that when we talk, it's a blended thing. So there are different energies which will be putting across. Some are funny, some are crazy, some are joking, some are jokers, some are serious, some are, and all that. It's a blended thing. We understand. So it's the same thing which happens everywhere. Everyone has got a blended thing. That's why you see sometimes you are playful, you are joking, your inner child comes through and all that. So the same applies. My inner child comes out, my adult person self comes out, my normal self, my higher self, my whatever self will also come out, my feminine self. So sometimes you see my peaks, I'll be like posing. It's my feminine component. I embrace all myself, my masculine, my feminine, and everything in perfect balance. You understand? In perfect balance. You're not supposed to ignore your femininity. You're not supposed to ignore your masculinity. You're not supposed to ignore your higher self. You're not supposed to ignore your lower self. You're not supposed to ignore your inner child. You're supposed to combine all of them for them to formulate one thing. You understand? Because if we just do higher self, right now we'll be like, you know what, man? Just want to go and live in a mountain. Yeah, because really I don't want this. You understand? But the lower self will also say, you know what? Enjoy. Live in that mansion. Design that mansion. And all that. So, having said all this that I've said, I've been authorized to now start teaching how I do all the stuff that I do. Because it's not like I do anything special. It's not like there's anything special in me. Because people have gone to a point where they idolize people when they do something. So let's say if somebody does certain designs and all that, and people are like, hey, you know what, man, that guy is special. Many of the designs that we see in this world, many of the things that we see, we admire, we say, it's marvelous. People are not even doing any effort in doing those. That's why I want to tell you. They're not even spending an hour doing that. Yourself, yes, you can spend years trying to learn, going to school, trying to learn those things. You can go to varsity, you can do a PhD, you can do whatever. For you to be able to design an iron. Some people don't do that. A child who is in primary school will just design something that you, who has done a PhD, cannot even do. Not even that they are doing anything. They are just utilizing what I'm talking about. So I've been authorized to teach that, but I'm waiting for a sign. The sign that's supposed to show. And then when that sign shows, I'm going to do it for you. But you need to understand, people admire places like, they say, should I mention names? Okay, and let me not mention names. People admire, go even to visit places. Like, man, this place was created from nothing, from a desert, from whatever. Man, it's marvelous, it's whatever. The architecture, man, is like out of this world and all that. All that can be created in a day. That's what I want to tell you. An illusion is put in people's minds for them to think that it took years to create something. But actually, those things are created in a day. A city is created in a day. That is the power of, I'll call it, like I said yesterday, I'm not going to tell you the word because I will be in trouble. So I'll just call it Athlon. Using the power of Athlon, as a collective mind, you can create using your mind. So, as a united village, you can have a concept done for you of a project. And when a concept is done for you for a project, as a united village, you can put your mind together. And then you can visualize that project, each and everyone visualizing a certain component of that particular project. The more you are, the better, because it gives more detail to the project. Then you follow a certain protocol. Then you project into the land. The land, because you are incongruent with it, it now terraforms itself into that particular project. That's how those things are built. They're not built by people coming in doing brick and mortar. Of course, in the eyes that we see here, you see people going in to do trowel and whatever. Of course, it's crazy when I talk of it like this. But that's what happens. And I've already shown you some of the signs in the designs that I do to say this is a design and it's already functional. And you can see online how it is. You can see, if you go to Facebook page, you can see for yourself that, you know what, is this something that has already been constructed? Is this a design which is still coming? If it is a design which is coming, how come it's not like a Lumion, Revit, AutoCAD file? How come it is like a real photograph of something which is existing already? But if you search something like that, there's nothing like that. So, for example, the Kenport concept, it's already like functional. For example, the Sensor Agri Hub, it's already under construction. For example, the whatever, Agri Hubs, it's already been constructed. How come? It has been commissioned, it's functional, it's working. And the photos are like real photos of a project with wear and tear, water draining on the road. You can see the draining of the water on the road and all that. That can be software, man. Software cannot generate something like that. Well, how come? It's because it's like taking a peek of something which is already existing and bringing it here. So what you only need to do is use your mind to create, to be able to state exactly what that is. So that's why the more the better. Because what happens, if you, for example, you're a village, each and every person in their mind, they picture their kind of house that they want. It means if you project now, the detail is now even much better. Because each and every house of that particular person who is part of that collective which is doing the mind, whatever, is also captured in there. Then you produce a masterpiece. That's how you do it. You don't even need any resource. You don't need anything. You don't need to do anything. And when it comes to mining, you don't even need to go and excavate into the soil for you to damage the earth. You just talk to the earth, and the earth puts out the resources that you want for you to be able to do whatever. Because you might say, I also want to add this to that, what I want some gold, I want some silver in there, I want to put that thing there. You communicate with the earth when you are in resonance with it. You communicate with water for a project to say, in this project we want at least a minimum of 2 megaliters per single day. So, water, earth, can you provide water for us? When you are in resonance like that, the earth will provide. The water will give you the water that you want. Then you can be able, you see how it's done. But we are waiting for the sign for that to happen. Because I'm not the only teacher who is there, who is teaching this. There are a lot of teachers who are out there, who people are not just listening to and ignoring because they feel that they are useless or they mean nothing. But whatever they are saying is exactly that. And when the signal comes in to say we can continue with the teaching that we are doing, we will do that. But I'm just wanted to highlight to you that I've been given, and so I have others. There's nothing special about me. A lot of other people have also been given that authorization to do the teaching. So even if I'm not there, the teaching will still happen through other people. Even if I decide to say, you know what, I'm going to keep that information to myself, I'm not going to teach, other people are going to do it. That's how the system is like. It doesn't make the system itself dependent on a particular person. It spreads around. And others haven't even showed themselves. They're just waiting to say, if you don't do it, we are going to do it. So even if myself I'm sabotaged or I'm slowed down or my mind is made to think, you know what, let me think of money here. Let me make money for myself. Let me also have people worshiping me. Because some people were already starting to send messages. Engineer, can we be, you know what, learning from you? And what? I'm like, I'm not teaching anyone anything. When the time comes, I'm going to teach it publicly for everyone to learn out there, so that they can do it for themselves, not for me, for them to be coming to me to say, can you do it for us? Because that's another idol worshipping thing that we are talking of. We'll be creating another idol worshipping. It's the same thing that we were running away from. Now they'll be worshipping me instead of worshipping whatever. No, anyone can easily do this for themselves. You don't need anything. A child who is doing primary can design a mansion to specific detail, to the nearest centimeter. A child playing a video game can do that. That's what I will tell you. So you'll be able to do what you want to do. You won't be having to need to struggle to look for how to survive, because the resources will be there for you. Only thing you need to do is to do what you want to do. How you want to do, depending on how creative you are, how your mind is. The more you work on your mind, the more you work on yourself. Because all this work with love, wisdom, abundance, prosperity, peace, protection, happiness, balanced, in harmony. If you don't have that, it's not going to happen. You can fool yourself. It's not going to happen. If you have that and it's balanced, then you can do that. So what is going to happen? Those who don't have it will start consulting those who have it to say, you are in harmony, you are in peace, can you assist me with this? That's the new worshipping which will be happening now. But you can still, it's not like you've been stopped by anyone from doing it yourself. It's you who does not want to embrace love. You want to still remain in hatred. You still want to remain in chaos. It's you who is failing yourself, not anyone. So the choice is to you. But if you decide, I want to be in love, I want to be in harmony, I want to be in peace, I want to be in all those good things, then the creative juice flows and you'll be able to do all these things. You'll be able to achieve all this. So, I've said enough. I've said it all. I've said everything that needed to be said. So I'm going to say we'll continue giving you more information as it comes. And whenever something comes, I will just still post. So today, I think we'll go to, yes, the day before, we did something which was for the fathers. And then we did something which was for the key, which opens, first we did the key, the heart key, which is for the father, because remember the father is the one who is supposed to be having the heart opened because of whatever which happened. And then the mother has got the abundance key, the abundance prosperity key. We did that. Now we want to go to the next level, which is the Aquarius level. So today we'll be doing the Aquarius level. So that's what we'll be focusing on. That's what we'll be doing today. So when I finish that, I'm going to broadcast it and then for people to see. But anyway, stay in peace, stay in prosperity, stay in wisdom, stay in abundance, stay in happiness, stay in protection. Please, always stay in love. I love you. And